kind of like politics or sports or anything else. Sometimes I watch things and I wonder how people come to such different conclusions than I do. I don't know about you, but if you haven't seen the Tyreek Hill body camera footage, which is on my X page at Pete Mundo, you can see it there. It dropped last night. Tyreek Hill, former Chiefs player, of course, now with the Miami Dolphins, was arrested prior to the game in Miami over the weekend. And the video is about a 3.5-minute body camera video. And I have audio from it that I will play for you here. But it becomes very obvious very quickly that when you don't comply with a basic request of law enforcement, you're going to have a problem. Now, does that mean the cop has a right to be a little douchey? No, not really. Not in a perfect world. But guess what? The theme here, the takeaway here, is not Tyreek got mistreated because he was black. The takeaway here is Tyreek Hill did not do what he was asked to do by law enforcement, and that led to problems. Take a listen to what it sounded like, and then we'll get into some of the details. And if you haven't seen the video, that's always valuable. You can see it on my X page at Pete Mundo.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Get out of the car. Give me your ass, we'll break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of law don't you understand? Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? I'm getting out, you understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
All right. Those are the police arresting Tyreek Hill at this traffic stop before the Dolphins game on Sunday. So what you see happen is they walk up to Tyreek Hill after pulling him over. And, at first it looks like it's going to be just fine. Tyreek's maybe a little slow on some things. He might be asking some questions, mouthing off just a hair, whatever. But what then sends the police officers over the edge, what gets them annoyed, is they ask him to keep his window open. Now, he's got tinted windows, and Tyreek's rolling his window back up. And they start kind of knocking on the window. Hey, get that window back down. Get the window back down. Now, that is a very dangerous situation for law enforcement, right? If somebody's rolling their window back up and they have tinted windows, you don't know what's going on the other side of that window. You don't. You have no idea what's happening in that moment. Now, you can sit there and say, come on, Pete, it's Tyreek Hill. Come on, he's an NFL player. Now, that doesn't matter. You have protocol as law enforcement. And you can sit there and do the hindsight 2020. He's a pro athlete. By the way, he's a pro athlete who's had himself a slew of legal troubles, so let's not forget that. He's not exactly a choir boy, Tyreek Hill. In fact, he's far from it. So you don't just change your protocol because, hey, that's Tyreek. Don't worry about it. You have protocol. And somebody rolling up their window, with tinted windows, I will add, during a stop is one of the most dangerous things that you can think of because you don't know what's going on the other side. And then that's what leads to Tyreek getting pulled out, getting put on the ground, and being arrested. And I'm looking at that video, and everyone's, of course, trying to make this out to be some racial thing. I mean, it's amazing. Even though the cops are Latino, by the way, we should probably add that to the conversation. I know people love to see race in everything, especially when it fits their narrative. So you've got Latino cops in Miami arresting a black man in Tyreek Hill. Just so we're clear here, there are no white people involved. Although I guess some people like to call Latinos now white people if they vote a certain way or if they're cops. It's funny how that works. But that's the story. That's who we've got. If you want to see race in this, that's how this technically is going to play out. That's what you've got involved here in this whole story. But I keep coming back to a very simple thing. If Tyreek Hill is complying out of the gates, all of this is avoided. All of it. Now, I reached out to multiple people in law enforcement, and I'm just going to share with you some of the highlights. They're all Kansas City area folks who are in law enforcement, have spent a lifetime in law enforcement, and here's some of what I got from them after they saw this video. They said the window thing is an officer safety risk. His windows are tinted, cops can't see what he's doing, and adding to the fact that he's already not listening to directions. Also, not sure if the cops did what their policy supports, but I would have backed out officers if this was their interaction. Also, notice nothing big happened after they just let him go, which is what should have happened after they finished their business with him, write a ticket or whatever it might be. Being a football player does not give you some kind of special privilege when you're getting pulled over. That's exactly right. And what you see at the end of the video is one of his teammates who pulls up in front of where Tyreek was getting pulled over, and he starts yelling as well, saying, "What's going on here? What's going on here?" And here's what that sounded like.
Hey, don't do, bro. Back up. Hey, call Drew.
So Tyreek is yelling, "Call Drew." That's a reference to Drew Rosenhaus, his agent. So that's what Tyreek is yelling at his teammate, who's now pulled over on the side of the road in front of where Tyreek was just pulled over in Miami before the game.
Hey, call Drew. Call Drew, bro. Call Drew. Hey, call Drew, bro. Hey, listen. Hey, man, they got Tyreek. The cops over here beating on him, man. They over here beating on Tyreek,
Listen,
man.
big man, don't park there, man. Just get in the car.
Hey, Drew, you got to come, man.
Just get in the car.
Now they're over here beating on they're over here beating on Tyreek. He's saying, "Come on."
On the side of the
Hey, get in the car. You're parked in the middle of the street.
I'm in the car. You gotta go before you get a ticket.
Hey, I'm in the car.
Who's the driver? This is my car.
All right, move.
I'll take that.
You gotta move right now.
Coming, man.
Let me have your license. You're gonna ticket too.
I'm coming.
Let me have your license. You're gonna ticket. Let me have your license.
I'm leaving.
I'm not playing. Let me have your license.
Leaving. Yo, what's
your
going
license
on?
right now.
What's going on,
Your license right now. You're not gonna give me your license?
Get in the car and leave.
You're not gonna give me your license?
I'm leaving.
Let me have your license. Your license right now.
Sir, you want me?
So that was Tyreek Hill's teammate, who, by the way, in that situation, you are creating a more dangerous situation by trying to be involved in an active arrest, especially when you're parking in the street. It's not like he was in a parking spot. He was just in the right lane in front of Tyreek Hill's car, which had been pulled over by law enforcement. And by the way, for those of you wondering, according to reports, Tyreek Hill was going 65 and a 40. So, that's reason to get pulled over, okay? You're going 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. That's why he got pulled over. But it never needed to get to that point. Let's be very clear. It never needed to get to that point. And it's a very simple thing. As someone who's been arrested, I haven't been arrested, sorry. As someone who's been pulled over, sorry. Mark, I just woke Mark up this morning. Mark was like, "Wait, I didn't know that about you, Pete. You've been arrested. Wow."
Thought we were about to get story time.
As someone who's been pulled over many times, I will add, more than I'd like to admit, it's amazing how when you just say, "Hey, here's my license, here's the registration, hands on the wheel," it's amazing how you don't get yanked out of your car and slammed to the ground. Now, there was a part of this, though, and I've got to share this with you coming up. The most underrated part of that body camera footage with Tyreek Hill. You are not going to want to miss, and we'll get to it coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM, and streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. So the Tyreek Hill arrest video is out. Body camera footage released by Miami Police, former Chief player, current Miami Dolphin, and there was this very good line. I got to give the cops credit. So Tyreek, once again, decides he's not going to comply. He's just kind of having, I would call it, athlete entitlement. He's getting pulled over, and he's basically like, "Hey, just give me your ticket. Do what you got to do, man. I got to go." It's like, well, dude, you should have thought of that before you went 65 and a 40 and got yourself pulled over. So now we got to do the whole dog and pony show, and, you're going to have to wait and the whole thing, right? So the traffic stop escalated when Hill gave officers his license and then rolled his window back up. And that obviously puts any cop in a very dangerous situation. Don't roll the window up. He rolls the window up with tinted windows. You can say, well, it's Tyreek Hill. Leave him alone. You don't have different protocol for famous people, okay? You don't. This whole thing, well, it was Tyreek. Come on. No, I don't want different laws for the rich and famous. Do you? Not at all. So that escalates it. They pull him out of the car. They arrest him. And then they're going over the curb and they're trying to sit him down, right? Because once again, this whole thing of it's Tyreek Hill, let him go. You got to get the offender down on the ground. They weren't tackling him after they arrested him, but they were trying to sit him down on the curb. And Tyreek starts saying, hey, man, I just had surgery on my knee. And the cop tells him, you should have had surgery on your ears.
Hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery in your ears when we go there. Chill, bro.
You should have had surgery on your ears, the cop says, when we told you to keep your window down. That's pretty clever in the moment, you know? All the adrenaline's pumping, and Tyreek didn't want to sit down for some reason, saying he had surgery on his knee. And then the cop's like, well, you should have had surgery on your ears when we told you to keep your windows down. Victor's in Parkville. He's on KCMO. Hi, Victor. Good morning.
Good morning, Pete. You know, I'm glad you brought this up. Your overnight guys did. I love Red Eye Radio. And, this was going to be my tirade. So, I'm calling in earlier because you're talking about, it's these self-important, pampered show ponies, otherwise known as professional athletes, and it's the team owners and the league presidents, they encourage this lawless, pampered behavior, this privileged attitude that they've got. This was 25 miles over the speed limit on a what? This wasn't a highway. This is what, 40-mile-an-hour zone?
Yeah.
Which was either residential or it was a business district. Now, I've gotten pulled over for doing 20 miles, more than 20 over the speed limit, and the cop was very nice. He talked it down. He said, I'm going to give you 19 over because 20 over jeopardizes your license, and you got a problem with that. Now here's the thing. Cooperation, and you touched on this. Cooperation plus respect equals ticket and release.
Yeah.
And, I guarantee you, just like with Rashid Rice not too long ago, the Chiefs would have handled this completely differently. Now the Miami Dolphins are all in, oh, gosh, we got to be careful. He was handled so roughly. Well, no. If he had just cooperated, he would have got his ticket, and he would have been on his way. They should have pulled his ass in freaking jail, and then he would have missed the game, and it would have all been his fault. Then maybe he would have learned.
Yeah, the statement.
That's my opinion.
Thank you, Victor. That's very well said. Listen, as someone who has been pulled over, like I said, a time or two in multiple different states, I have been pulled over in 4 states, which I don't know if I should be proud of that or not, but it's more a testament to how many places I've lived. Let me see.
Your sample size is...
Yes. No, I've been pulled over in 5 states in this
market
country.
research, right?
I've been pulled over in Oklahoma. I've been pulled over in Florida. I've been pulled over in New Jersey. Been pulled over in New York.
Okay.
And been pulled over in Kansas.
I say around here, you got to do the Missouri-Kansas double.
Yeah, not in Missouri.
That happens.
I was only lived in Missouri for a year. So, but 5 been pulled over in 5 states. So that's pretty good. That's pretty. I mean, I don't know if I'm proud of that, but that's pretty good.
Well, yeah. Again, vast sample size there.
Vast sample size. Cops,
regionally speaking.
Yes. Midwest, Southeast, Northeast. I've hit a lot of cops in my day, and all of them.
Same for me. Grandview, Gladstone.
So I've gotten the feel of cops in different environments, and it's amazing how listen. Are some a little douchey sometimes? Yeah, they're human beings too. You can tell which guys want to be the tough guys and which guys are, just going to say, hey, I got you, buddy. Give me the license, or let's just move on here with our day.
Quick little story when you have time.
Yeah, thank you. Well, save it for me, John.
Right,
save it. All right. That's a good tease for the rest of the morning. But you just come to realize they're doing their job. Okay. That's what they're doing. They're doing their job. And when Tyreek's going 65 at a 40, he doesn't get to then play the victim card when he's also not complying. And Victor's right to point out the embarrassing statement from the Dolphins. You know, we really do have to cherish the fact that we've got the Hunt family in charge of this team here in Kansas City. They wouldn't handle it like this. The statement from the Dolphins, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just read you some of the highlights. It starts off, quote, "We are saddened by the overly aggressive and violent conduct directed towards Tyreek Hill." That's their opening line. Nothing to open up about, oh, I don't know, your employee not complying with law enforcement. What a freaking joke. What an embarrassing organization the Miami Dolphins are. It is maddening and heartbreaking to watch the very people we trust to protect our community use such unnecessary force and hostility towards these players. Wait, excuse me? These players? Are they not citizens who have to abide by the law like the rest of us? What a ridiculous way to open up the statement from the Miami Dolphins. Then they say here, what if it wasn't Tyreek Hill? Is a question that will carry with resounding impact. Oh, shut up, please. Spare me the holier-than-thou, high and mighty BS from the Miami Dolphins. I haven't rooted against an NFL team like I'm going to root against the Miami Dolphins in a very long time. That is just a comical response. We'll stand beside Tyreek and our players as they work to use their platform in this situation to make a positive impact in our community. You know what Tyreek can do to make a positive impact in the Miami community? Go around the schools, go around to community centers, and say, hey, you know what? Maybe the cops were a little over aggressive. But you know what I need to do? I need to do a better job of just doing what they asked. And by the way, don't break the law in the first place. How about that? 65 and a 40. How many people did Tyreek Hill put in danger? Going 65 and a 40. And then deciding, I'm not complying with law enforcement. I'm Tyreek Hill. Now, I know he might be upset because that ticket cuts into the 10 baby mamas he's got to pay off, but you have got to be kidding me. That is a joke of a statement from the Miami Dolphins. They should be ashamed of themselves as an organization. Tyreek Hill's a punk. Tyreek Hill has a criminal track record. And Tyreek Hill has had, 10 children with 7 women, something crazy like that. Tyreek Hill got pulled over by the cops on the way to the Dolphins game on Sunday. And guess what? He chose not to comply with law enforcement. He's allegedly going 65 and a 40. And then he wants to go on television last night on CNN and cry about it and act like he's freaking George Floyd. It is the most ridiculous example of athlete celebrity privilege you will see. And to try to play the whole I'm just a black man in America, please. Stop, Tyreek. We've seen the video. If you haven't seen the video, it's up on my X page. It's 3 minutes at Pete Mundo. You can follow me there if you want to see the video for yourself. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people who want to beat around the bush on this topic in this town in particular. I'm sure that, certain people are going to use this topic to rip on cops because that's what they want to do anyway. But when you watch the Tyreek Hill video, here's what happens. He gets pulled over. They ask him for license registration. He gets a little mouthy, whatever. It's not illegal to be rude. You can still be a douchebag in America. Trust me, there's examples every day of that. And but then where things start to escalate is when he rolls up his window. And they say, hey, they start tapping, hey, roll your window back, roll the window back down. He's got tinted windows. And if you're a cop in that spot and somebody rolls up their window, you don't know what's on the other side, especially when it's tinted. Well, guess what? That's how something like that and a situation like that starts to escalate. So then what you have is law enforcement then decide they're going to take Tyreek out of the car and they're going to put him in handcuffs and detain him. And here's part of what that sounded like.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Get out of the car. Give me your ass, bro. Break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. What part of violence do you understand?
Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand?
I'm getting out,
you
bro.
understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you.
All right. So those are the cops. They then end up handcuffing Tyreek Hill. They put him on the curb. They take care of business. Of course, he ends up playing in the game. But this is all very simple. As I said during Tirade Tuesday, I was doing the math this morning. I have been pulled over in 5 different states in this country, mostly because I've lived in a lot of places, but I've been pulled over in New Jersey, New York, Florida, Oklahoma, and Kansas. I didn't hit Missouri when I was on that side of the state line for a little bit, but I guess there's still plenty of time. I'm not going anywhere. I just got to start driving around Missouri more, and I guess they'll find me eventually. But, it's really simple. No matter what part of the country you're in, it's amazing how, yeah, sure, yes, officer. You don't have to call him sir or ma'am, but, yes, officer, sure, okay, hands on the wheels, here's my license. Man, I screwed that up, blah, blah, blah. Give me my ticket, whatever you want to do, give me the warning, we'll move on with our day. But Tyreek Hill right away last night goes on CNN and jumps immediately to the, man, guys like me just can't catch a break. Take a listen to Tyreek Hill last night on CNN with Caitlin Collins.
Tyreek, just before you go, you just tweeted a moment ago, you said, let's make a change. What did you mean by that?
Right. So, I'm a good old country boy from South Georgia, man. I'm not a big believer in dividing people. I don't believe in all that, man. I believe in bringing people together because that's my purpose in life. I do football camps all across the world, man, trying to bring different people together, different kids, different parents, because we in this together, baby. We on this earth together. We got to live together. So when I say let's make a change, let's do it together. So Miami PD, really all officers across the world, man, because one officer doesn't, make the whole group look bad. Everybody has bad apples, every team has bad apples. It's my job to use my platform and my resources so that way I'm able to align, with, these, different stations. So that's what I mean when I say let's make a change, because we done tried it all. You know what I'm saying? We done protest. We even took a knee. We done did walks. So what's next? So right now, me and my wife, we right now brainstorming on how can we be a part of this change?
All right.
It's important to us.
Stop. Stop. We took a knee. We protested for this. For what? For your right to not listen to law enforcement after you allegedly are speeding and then want to be goofy and be a clown, which whatever. Once again, you're allowed to do that. But then when you talk, it's one thing to just be like a jerk to a cop, right? You're allowed to do that. You can be a jerk. But then when you talk about noncompliance in a situation like that, when every cop in this country is on high alert in America right now because media has trashed the industry to the point where people feel emboldened, by the way. They feel emboldened. They feel like they don't have to comply necessarily. And maybe they can become a martyr. And now Tyreek Hill is going on this ridiculous martyr tour, and he's doing it with the help of guys like Stephen A. Smith, who said one of the most ridiculous things on his X page last night about this Tyreek Hill arrest.
Let's keep in mind that Scotty Scheffler, when he was arrested in Kentucky, months ago, in May, if I remember correctly, when that happened, he was placed in handcuffs and booked. So let's understand, this is not a story about the handcuffs. This is not a story about Tyreek Hill being detained. It's how he was detained. That's the story. Why do you need him face down on the ground? Y'all know how hot it was in Florida yesterday? You know how hot that ground must have been? You put his body and his face on the pavement. You feel a need for 3-4 different officers to surround him while that's happening. Once you put him in cuffs behind his back, you stand him up. And then afterwards, some other officer comes down a minute later or so and forcibly sits him down. Why? Let's keep it.
You're right, Stephen A. You know what they should have done? They should have said, hey, Tyreek, which palm tree would you like to be handcuffed under? Which one has the most shade, Tyreek? You tell us. Which one of these, I think that one's leaning on a nice 45-degree angle. We can maximize shade for you before the game. Which one do you want to get detained under, Tyreek? You tell us. You pick out. You got 6 palm trees here. Tell us which one you like. Why'd you have to put his body? I don't know. That's how you arrest people. Okay? Especially like Tyreek's a short dude, but still a pretty big guy in that moment. That's kind of how you do it. And there's a great way to avoid ending up chest first on pavement. And that is to just, keep your window rolled down, which you were asked to do originally. It's really not that hard.